Welcome back and good morning once again. If you are just joining us, this is still Daybreak Africa. Well, in light of democracy in Nigeria, we'll be discussing the system of democracy in Nigeria, actually, and the journey thus far with Sam Olorunfemi, who is a political analyst. Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Africa.
Good morning, Fatima.
A very good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael. Happy Democracy Day.
I wish you the very best, and I pray that it comes with everything that democracy represents.
Absolutely.
And that comes with my first question. Talking about democracy, a lot of things will be said. A lot of people understand it in a different way. Now, I'm very sure you are a person with a gigantic understanding of democracy. So when we talk about democracy now, everything that it entails, can we say there are features in Nigerian democracy?
Arguably, it's no. Because there's nothing like 100%. Even the America, where we borrowed this, don't forget we borrowed this democracy from America, and it's not even 100% perfect over there. You saw what happened when the current president won the election, Joe Biden. You saw how some people are the supporter of Donald Trump, how they invaded the seat of power and so on and so forth. This happens to be Nigeria, people will be talking about, oh, that's the culture. So we're talking about democracy. It's not perfect everywhere, but we're talking about a system in such a way that citizens, we have this belief in the system that even though it's not perfect, at least we are enjoying the dividends of democracy. And we can't be talking about democracy without talking about the government and the governed. So it's in two folds. Those who are the aims of the affair, and we citizens that we are under the government, or those that we've elected to be in government. So there's no democracy that is perfect anywhere in the whole world. Don't forget that even in the UK, there was a time, don't forget what led to the exit of former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. You know, it was alleged during the COVID-19, you know, even giving out the order that nobody should go out. He went out to party. At the end of the day, he was summoned to the parliament and so on and so forth. So nobody can sit anywhere to tell you that we have a perfect democracy anywhere in the whole world. But we can't be talking about something that's very close to a perfect system in such a way that citizens we still have a kind of way in trying to give a kind of kudos to the government in power. You know, we are talking about a UK, we are talking about US democracy, and we're talking about democracy in Nigeria. Now, if I have to equate the two, I have to do a kind of comparative analysis, people are talking about democracy in US is far better than what we are practicing in Nigeria. And when we are talking about good democracy, it boils on leaders. How are leaders, how are they treating the citizen? What is the true nature and the character of the leaders that are in government? Are they doing what's supposed to do for their citizens? During electionary campaign, we will do this, we'll build bridge from Lagos to Abuja for you, and by the time they get to the seat of power, they do otherwise. So democracy entails when leaders are trying to gain the confidence, full confidence of the citizens. But when you look at our democracy in this country, though we are growing, you know, the difference between when you are growing and when something is developing. You know, as a child you can be growing, but that developmental stage, you know, when you see a mother, what the mother will be craving for is a kind of development in that particular child, not growing. You know, it's expected of you to grow. When you are age 1 this year, by next year you'll be age 2. But what about the developmental stage? You know, by the time you're supposed to be working, you are expected to be working. By the time you're supposed to go to school, you are expected to go to school. So our democracy in Nigeria is growing, whether we like it or not, because when you come from the 1999 to where we are today, I think we are talking about 24 years of interrupted democratic system of government. That is, we are growing. But what about developing? Are we developing in the area of government, leaders, citizens, rule of law, and those that we've sent to represent us at the National Assembly, State Assembly? Are they giving us the true representation of what democracy entails? Even our governors, the president, ministers, commissioners, are they even representing, or are they giving us the dividend of democracy? Today now, we are still talking about, in fact, when you go to some areas today now, you see that they don't have access to potable water. They don't have access to good health. They don't have access to good education. So that's all what democracy is talking about.
And that brings me to the next question. I think democracy, as it sounds, and the understanding of what democracy is, there's supposed to be a place of accountability, and where you can hold people people accountable for what they have done. We elected these leaders.
Exactly.
We brought them into the office because we believe in them. A lot of campaigns must have gone on, a lot of promises. But at the end of the day, just as you said, when they get into office, we see something different. Why has it been so hard for us in our democracy, in the past 23, 24 years of democracy, practicing it in Nigeria, that we have not been able to use that part of accountability to hold them accountable for what they are doing?
Well, Mecca, it acts in such a way that the institution is not that strengthened as supposed to be. And when you look at the arms of government, you know, we have 3 arms of government. We have the executive, we have the legislature, and we have the judiciary. And these are the independent arm of government. But when you look at the way we run our system here in this country, it does look like executive has dominated the 2 arms of government. And that's why people tend to talk about rubber stamp assembly, that no, whether you like it or not, those that we've sent. And when you look at the difference between the 3, it's only the judiciary that we don't elect people. We can never see anybody that want to become a chief judge or want to become a Supreme Court judge that will paste a poster that will come and campaign for me to become a chief judge or to become Attorney General of the Federation. No, it's by the virtue of number of years and number of principle of law. But when you look at the 2 arms, the executive and judiciary, you will discover that even in only executive, only the governors that we do elect. Commissioner, we don't elect them just by through of selection. Governor will select those who will. But when you look at the legislature, because when you read the 3 functions or function of the 3 arms of government, it's only the legislature that can hold the executive accountable, because they are the one representing us and they have the larger house than the executive. Executive will have the only governor or the only president voted for to become the governor or the president. But in terms of legislature, now for example, now look at the National Assembly, the 2 chambers, the Senate and the House of Reps, comprises of about 400 and something lawmakers, 109 from the Senate, 360 from the National Assembly, all of them elected. There's nobody you will find in that chamber that has not been elected by the constituent. So we elect them to hold the executive accountable, and that's their major function. Because when you're talking about the legislature, I'm trying to go to your question that why is it difficult to hold our leaders accountable? And that holding them accountable lies in the hands of those are the legislative arm of government, because their primary assignment is just for them to make laws, to go on oversight functions, and during the process of going on oversight function, to see the programs and the policies of the executive, what they want to implement for the good citizen and the well-being of Nigerians. There they hold them accountable. And that's why you see that when you go through the constitution, you will see that the law stipulates that as a legislation, they have the right to invite ministers, to even the president, to come and give account. We've seen series of that in this country, whereby during the time we are having incessant attack in this country, we've seen when the legislature invited the service chiefs to come and explain what is happening. The chief of defense staff, the chief of army staff, the chief of naval staff, the chief of air staff, and the inspector general of police to come and give account what is going on around the security architecture of Nigeria. But now it does look like when they get to power, they tend to forget their major functions, what they need to do. There are others people are talking about that the executive is trying to override the legislature in such a way that those who are supposed to hold executive accountable, they've been deviated from the core assignment they sent to do for we citizens, for we constituents that elected them to do that particular thing. But I think the game is changing now, because when you look at the last general election, you could see that a lot of people that if that would be before, we have no option. Whatever they pointed at, they will get it. But look at the last election now, and look at the way some governors who want to go back to the National Assembly after their 8 years as a sitting governors, they were unable to get the ticket. It's just like people are now waking up to their consciousness that we have series of ways in which we can hold you guys accountable. If you feel that by the time you are in office that you are untouchable, that nobody can touch you, even when people are going on the street protest, you don't have the listening ears. Now we wait for you in the next 4 years. That is that when election is approaching, You see anybody vying for any particular office, they can attend your child naming ceremony. You register now. If you are doing housewarming, they will come because they understand the power of vote, and that is the only channel that we are using now to hold them accountable. That we've been there for the past 4 years. Come and account to us what you've been able to do in the last 4 years that will make us to get you back to office. So I think it's a process. See, democracy is a process.
Of course,
it's not just wake up one day and you want to achieve what America has achieved. No, you can't be talking about America. America used about 200 years now ahead of Nigeria. So it would be wrong, and it's going to be a wrong perspective if we are saying that as what they've attained in America, we want to attain overnight. But at the long run, I think we'll be able to get there in such a way that by the time they are in power.
Exactly my point now. I walked on the street and I was given that I was opportune to speak to some people, and most people will always complain. When I get 2-3 people saying the same thing, like, okay, when we got our independence, we were not that mature enough to have it, and now fast forward, we are also trying to practice democracy, where we were not even nurtured enough to understand what independence entails and things that we are supposed to do, what we are supposed to enjoy as a nation, where we are supposed to be governed. Now coming into democracy, we are trying to still struggle, and as you said, we are growing, but we are not developing.
Exactly.
And this is a big concern because when a child of 24 years old, of course, there should be a tremendous growth and development.
Exactly.
But when we are still where we are, the same complaint. You also made mention of we are waiting for them every 4 years. But you know, in 4 years, a lot of things can go wrong.
Exactly.
A lot of things can be done.
Exactly.
So what do you think we need to do? Because this is a very big slap on our democracy. And it's like we don't even know what to do. Everybody just like, okay, let's just leave them. It's what they want to do. Let them do what they want to do, and we just do us, because people are crying. We can't hold anybody accountable. What should we do, the general masses?
You see, Mike, there's limits to what we can do by the time we have these people in power, you know. And when you read through the Constitution, Chapter 1 is very clear that sovereignty lies in the hands of we citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We own the power, though they are there to govern, but we own the power. That's why I say that no matter the office you are running now, maybe office of the president, you need to seek our vote because you have that consciousness. But unless you have our vote, you can't get to that particular office. But to me, I think this is another angle where we need to strengthen our judiciary. You know, I made mention of 3 arms of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. This is the aspect now that we need to strengthen our judiciary. And when you look at the main function of judiciary, they are the one that interpret the law. You know, we often say that they are the last hope of the common man. You know, when you don't get justice at the executive or at the legislature, the only place that you can run to is judiciary to have a sheet over you. But oftentimes we've seen government try to downplay the power of judiciary. Where in this country, when judiciary will give a pronouncement and the government will pretend as if they did not see the pronouncement from court. We've seen cases where youth will go on the street just to protest, and protest is part of our constitutional right, because like the question you asked, that how can we hold them accountable? Should we now be waiting for every 4 years to not become a tradition before we hold our leaders accountable? And 4 years is a very long time. If we are not taking, something will have gone wrong within that 4 years. And to me, under chapter 4 of the Constitution, it talks about fundamental rights of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we as a citizen. And another thing, apart from judiciary, is that we need that environment and see border on judiciary in such a way that government will allow citizens now to exercise their right in going out to protest. See, protest is not a bad thing. Protest is a kind of way where you are showing displeasure over government policy or program. A typical example, what happened in 2020, is still lingering in our memory. And such protest, no, it got to a point when Nigerians were like, no, this brutality need to go. The way SARS is brutalizing Nigerians, and so on and so on. And they took the bull by the horn. They went to street and they started demonstrating, protesting that no, an end must come to SARS and so on and so forth. Don't forget that protest yielded result. And the example is that no, it got to a point the federal government disbanded SARS. As a matter of fact, no, it got to a point the Nigerians on the street listed their demands: enumeration for Nigerian police force, and police brutality, and so on and so forth. So at that particular time, it yielded a result. But it's like it got to a point where government began to see it as kind of threat on government. You know, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and so on and so forth. And we know what the Shattered laws say, that when there's a protest, a mass protest in any particular country that lasted for maybe more than 21 days, now international community will now to wade in and question the authority of that particular country. That what's going on for people to have been on the street for about a week or 2 weeks. Something must have gone on that they are not happy with. So we saw what happened at that particular time. And don't forget, after that, a panel of inquiry was set up just to give justice to those to the victim of NSAS protest. So if you are talking about how we can hold them more accountable by not waiting for every 4 years, I think we need to go back to the judiciary. Judiciary must give us a strong policy in such a way that in every point in time we can government to accountable, and if government is trying to use force on us, then we go to the judiciary to seek a cover. But again, do we have a system that gives the judiciary a free will to operate? If today, Michael, President is the one that's still appointing the CJN, Chief Justice of Nigeria, and is a number one principal officer as far as law is concerned in this country. And don't worry, it's saying that you pay the pipers, call the tunes. So you understand. So we need more independence as far as the judiciary system is concerned, in such a way that President will not be the one appointing the Chief Justice of Nigeria. So if anything should happen, the CJN can stand his ground and say that this is where we are going. We saw what happened in this country, whereby a case was coming up, and the power that be used that power now to remove the CJN from office. Another person was brought into the system. So that's why the problem lies. Not that we don't know our right. Not that we cannot hold them accountable. Not that we've resorted to our faith that until the next 4 years we not hold them accountable. Unless we have that strong institution that will do a kind of backing. We've seen a kind of series of protests in this country whereby government will be using force on the protesters. You see now, if some will be arrested, some will be detained for days, and nothing will happen. So we need our judiciary to be more strengthened in such a way that we have that cover to hold our leaders accountable. Then again, government must be more transparent, and there must be willingness from the part of government to be ready for people to hold them accountable. Now, when you are running a government, when you are running a system of government, especially under democratic system of government, and you are not transparent to your people, you are not allowing your people to hold you accountable. You are believing that by the time people want to hold you accountable, people try to overrun your government, or people try to taint your government in a bad manner. And this one is very common in our government. If government is doing one policy and we're like, no, we want to know what is happening, update us, government will start saying that, or we start seeing people as the enemy of government. So democracy can be strengthened. We can hold our leaders accountable if we have a strong institution that can back us up and that can provide a cover for us, even in the face of the executive arm of government. That's what democracy is talking about. And that people are talking about the simple definition of democracy, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. You cannot be running the government without people. In fact, people make the government to stand. That's so a president cannot be in the country without citizens. What kind of president will you be? And we cannot have a citizen without having a leader. So that's why you see that it's interwoven. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So no matter the policy you are running out, no matter the program you are running out, it must be a kind of policy and program that will be friendly to citizens. Then allow your citizens to have a kind of input in your government. Yeah, don't run the government in an isolation.
That is exactly what I feel. All right, now when we speak of democracy, most Nigerians will feel like it's freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of doing things legally. But at the end of the day, if you ask most Nigerians now, they feel like the rule of law and everything favors the elites.
Exactly.
The people are the upper part of the power, enjoying power, and they just feel like, I can't do anything because right now, I started as an example some days back with when we're talking about the judicial system. And when we're speaking about, we said there were times that you have issues in the court, you take your cases to the court, and at the end of the day, you feel like, okay, for me to win this case, I need good lawyers, good senior advocates that can interpret the law and be able to do the things right. At the end of the day, a common man doesn't have money. At the end of the day, the rich man can parade up to 5, 6, 7 senior advocates. The case is already turned against you. There's no how you can win it. What do you think the government can do? You already said there are a lot to be done to strengthen the judicial system. But right now, you also spoke about transparency. And I feel like a lot of time, one of the problems we have in this country is the problem of communication. We don't have a clear communication of what is happening at the top and the people.
A feedback mechanism.
That's it. We don't have it. So what do you think we really need to put in place for even the commonest man on the street and illiterate to understand what their rights stand for and how they need to fight for it?
You see, it still borders on our leaders. Because some leaders believe that by the time they get to power, they have it all. And no matter what you say, no matter they cry, you will cry. You just cry. After in the next 4 years, you just have to wait without doing anything. And let me pick it from the EU of the judiciary about maybe is justice for the common man or is justice for the rich people in the country. Oftentimes we've seen cases whereby you see someone maybe stealing maybe gold or something, and you see the judgment coming very quick. You understand now? But you see someone embezzling about billions of naira, and you see a lot of case adjournment till their kingdom comes. So that's one of the reasons whereby it does look like democracy or judiciary is not that in tune of the common man in the street. And we should not forget where judiciary is standing on. Like I said, judiciary is standing on the last hope of the common man, because we believe that it's very difficult for you to access the executive judiciary, but when you go to the judiciary, you have hope, then you have justice, because justice is very key when it comes to judiciary, because that's why people are running to judiciary. Justice, we need this, we need that. But I think as we go in this democratic system of government, in fact, we've seen cases in most countries whereby no matter the office you are occupying, you are subjected to law. You are not bigger than the law. You can't prove to be bigger than the law. But in this country, just look at some people who are bigger than the law. And I quite understand where we are coming from. You know, this is Africa. You know, we tend to believe and we tend to read meanings to everything that is coming, especially when it comes to the citizen. But now, in going forward in this democracy, and is going forward in strengthening our democracy, and is going forward in giving power to people, because power belongs to people, whether we like it or not. Those in government, they don't hold the power, because the power they are holding is limited. Maximum 8 years in office as governor, as president, you are out of office. Where Buhari today, Buhari is no more in power. You cannot refer to Buhari as a former president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, but there was a time when he was at the helm of affairs, when he was seen as the alpha, and when he was seen as the alpha and the omega. But now he's no more there. Now power now belongs to the people. Now we need to put some things in place as we go on, and our leader must wake up to their consciousness and right-minded to believe that no, whatever we are doing, this service is for the people. Whatever we are doing, this thing is for the good of the public of Nigeria. We must allow Nigerians, our leaders must allow Nigerians now to have the free will now to exercise their right under the law. Now, you can't be pretending that some people who are exercising their right under the law are trying to overturn the government, or they are trying to put a kind of pressure on government. Now, when you allow citizens now to exercise their right, when you allow citizens now to carry out their civic responsibility as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended, then people will be believing that no, this government belongs to us. Because see, the reality is that by the time we have government in place, people believe that they are no more, they don't have any connection with government again. People see themselves as very far from government, because when you look at the information now, look at this now. When you look at the seat of power at the presidency now, ordinary people believe that for your voice to be heard by the president of the Republic of Nigeria, it will take a lot of time, because president tend to listen to people who are around him. President believe in people who are around him than those who gave him the majority vote to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, and again, the issue of feedback mechanism, we are lacking that in Nigeria. In most cases, we'll be talking about what is government talking about this, what is government saying about this, how is government reacting to this. And I could remember again during the NSAS protest, this happens to be one of the things that make the case to be escalated to that particular point, because I got to a point where I want to hear from the president. Let president speak on this matter. Let him address us as citizens. But then, president then did not speak, and we did not hear anything from the presidency. So we must again bring on our feedback mechanism in such a way that what government is doing, people are being carried along. So it won't be a time when you are coming to seek re-election that will not be telling people. I do tell people that, to me, I don't have interest when politicians are coming back after 4 years to tell you what they've done in the last 4 years. No. Let's be following what you are doing, keeping up abreast with what you are doing in office. Nothing wrong if we, after 100 days in office, president should come out to tell you that in the last 100 days, this is what I've been able to achieve as president, and we tend to achieve more. In the 100 days, let the governor come out to tell you that the good people of Ondo State, of Enugu State, of Kogi State, this is what I've been able to achieve in the last 100 days in office. Allow your commissioners to go out and speak with the media. Allow your ministers to have a chat with the media in such a way that they will be keeping us updated in word, so that we will not wait till the next 4 years. You start telling us what you've been able to. Nobody will care. Nobody will listen again. But when you are giving out up-to-date information, keeping us updated about how government is going, the way government is running the system, then people will feel a sense of belonging. Because as we're speaking now, there's what we call a trust deficit between the government and the governed. People don't trust their government. They don't trust government again. Government will come to power. Before you know what happened, they are outside the shore of the country. Government that will be talking about they want to revamp our education. Where are their children today? People that government that is talking about they want to revamp our health sector. If anything should happen to them, even if happen to be a toothache, where are they today in this country? Government that is talking about want to give you infrastructure, and they keep investing our money outside the shore of the country. So the trust is no more there. People want to see when you walk the talk. You know, before, our leaders don't walk the talk, they only do the talk alone. But when you walk the talk, whether we're going to do this, we're going to do that, people will be expecting for you to do it. Look at the power, for instance. Government in, government out. They keep promising that they're going to improve on power. Today now, we are still crawling within 4,000 and 5,000 megawatts with the country of over 200 million population. That's why you see some areas today, they don't have access to light. Some that we have 3 or 2 hours gone. You understand now? So people want to start seeing government walking the talk. We want to do this, we want to do that. Then again, you lead by example. So that's how people will believe, how people will feel a sense of belonging
I must
in
say,
government.
what you just said now is a very interesting one, because I see Fatima really nodding her head. Like Fatima really want to chip in something.
You know, the fact that he has already been saying about all these defects, we have features of democracy.
Exactly.
We have freedom of speech. We have freedom of assembly, voting rights, human rights. So when we talk about even the feedback mechanism we talked about, if we say we have all these defects here and there in every sector of the future of democracy, is it still fair for us to refer to as our government as a democratic one?
Yes, whether we like it or not.
Whether we like it or not. And you said it is government for the people, by the people.
Yes,
and
that means we just have to take whatever they give to us.
That means define the purpose of democracy in the first place.
Whether we like it or not, we are still under democratic system of government.
Okay.
Because if you go anywhere now to say that we're between democratic system of government and military system of government, they will tell you that in democratic system of government, we have the choice to pick whoever we want to pick, even though the parties we really want to present who we vote for. Even if a political party should present someone that couldn't see, we have no option. That's the bottom we will vote for. And it will be a kind of wrong perception for me if I'm saying that we are not under democratic system of government. We are still under democracy. But the question is, are we truly enjoying all those things embedded in the democratic system of government? I will tell you that no, we are not enjoying all those things that we as citizens supposed to be enjoying under democratic system of government. Yes, to some extent. You see, let me sound positive, Michael. All right. Let me sound positive. We say that people will not think that Sam is here now to just condemn everything now. Yeah, we are still enjoying to some point. And the reason why I say we are still enjoying to some point is that if we still have the will today now to say that, oh, this person I want in government, I don't want you in the government, that kind of, we are still enjoying the freedom of democracy. If I can still go on air today to say that no, government is not doing well, all these things we are saying, we dare not say it under military regime, Michael. You say that now, when I say something under military regime, we have to be very, very careful in such a way that even during the process of this program now, some people will not just bang into the studio and just order the management to off the system. But we are not enjoying as we should be. And let me tell you, democracy is not expensive as we look at it. Our government just needs to sit tight. We need seriousness from our government, sincerely speaking. What we need from government is just, when you see government that is very serious, you see that democracy is very easy to run. We don't need much. People are just saying that, okay, give us good roads.
Okay.
People are saying that, give us good water. People are saying that, give us good health structure. People are saying that, give us light. People are saying that, give us education and so on. Provide jobs for us. That's what people are asking. Nigerians are not asking too much from government, but it does look like the willingness from government to make all this available is not there on their part. It's just few months to leave office. That's why you see most of them do a lot of things, grading rules, do this and do that. So that's what people are enjoying. But whether you like it or not, we are still, or democracy is still better than military system of government. Countries from the 1960s, when we got our independence, since 1999, you talk about our military, agile, the process. We saw what happened, how the First Republic was ended, how Second Republic was ended, how Third Republic was ended. Now we are the Fourth Republic, longest in the history of Republic in Federal Republic of Nigeria. So whether we like it or not, we still continue to push according to push till we will get it right. But don't forget, we can't get it right 100%. Nobody can do it. Just like a child to a parent. You know, a parent cannot guarantee 100% because we've seen cases when we are growing up there, you tell a parent that we ask us to bring money to school today, parent will tell you that go by 10 a.m. You will see me in my school, you see me in your school, come up here, and you will wait till 2 p.m. You will not see you will not see your parents until we get back home. But we continue to push in such a way that our leaders do the right. And people often say that these leaders are going outside the country. They are seeing the way the government outside there are running their system. Why is that by the time they will go there and come back here, they can't replicate the same thing. In fact, during the outgone ninth assembly, when a bill came at the floor of the house that they want to restrict our doctors or brain drain now from leaving the country, and that honorable came, I was like, no, that's not how to stop a brain drain. Like we said that after 5 years they will not be able to go, and the implication is that now when you say that Fatima is not a graduate of medicine from one particular university and you don't give her a license that we don't want her to leave the country, you show that Fatima will be practicing as a quack, because that's the license that we show that truly she's a graduate of medicine and she can practice. But when we don't want her to leave now and you want to hold her certificate behind, you say that you are giving us quack, and that is not how to curtail the brain drain. You are all, majority of you are going there to seek medical attention. Why can't we replicate what is going there in our country? Why can't we fix our health structure? Why can't we feel, in fact, how many primary health care centers are functioning in our country today? And that should be the primary health care in such a way that if anything should happen, you can easily run to any primary health care center very close to you. But if the situation is very powerful than what they can handle, they give you first aid, then they move you to the state hospital. Even within the state hospital, you go to the federal medical center before you go to the city hospital. So how many primary health care centers are functioning optimally in the country today? So I've said that that's not how to stop the brain drain. Fix the structure. Let us have the belief in the system in such a way that something will happen, even the leaders. And they'll be claiming that they've built world-class hospitals and something will happen. The next thing you see them at the airport, they are gone.
Now, that is the situation that we have been faced with. We believe it's going to get better. But right now, this is the situation. Somebody said something, and I will quote. This person said, we are in a country that most times the previous government and the democratic system they practice has been better than what we are to take when the next government comes in. It's just like a better yesterday. And this has been a situation, if you agree with me, for the past 24 years. Like we always been like, the Obasanjo administration was better. And when Obasanjo left, Yaradua was better. Good luck was better. Now, somebody said, if we are to say Muhammadu Buhari time was better, then what are we going to face next in the upcoming one? Which I don't want it to be a debate though. But now, my question is this. Where do you think the judiciary and the democratic system as a whole lost it? That the whole citizen felt like these people are not for us, they are against us. Where do you feel they lost it? And if at all they found where they have lost it, how will they bring things together and give us what we deserve as a citizen, as a country? You see, they lost it in the area of not placing importance on we Nigerians. That's the area where they lost it, because there's this discrepancy, big gap between the rich and the poor. And the
keep widening every day. Now look at this now. We are talking about 133 million Nigerians that are multi-dimensionally poor, that they don't have access to good health, no access to good education, no access to potable water. So the moment the gap keep widening every day, we keep losing the value. We keep losing the potential. We keep losing the kind of sense of belonging in government. Now, we cannot be talking about yesteryears. You know, I can remember when Jonathan was there, people were like, I know it is time for Jonathan to leave now. Corruption, very, very common in Jonathan's administration. When Buhari got there and the dollar moved from 100 to something and everything started skyrocketing, people were like, ooh, if we have known, we would have allowed Jonathan to go and so on and so forth. And today now we are still making back to 1966 regional government, where we have regional government, when Baba Awolowo, Akitola and so on, were holding the southwestern region for us, and Amadou Bello of Zaria, Aminu of Kano were controlling the northern region of the country, Azikiwe, the eastern part of the country, and so on and so on. When you look at the regional government there, you will see that government really put people in at art. Now, for example, let me give you a typical example. During the regional government in this country, I'll give you a clear example of us here at the western region now. Baba Awolowo was there, and they placed priority on education. One of the things that our leaders are lacking today is that we put a lot of things on the table in such a way that at the end of the day, we're not able to solve everything. During the regional government, Awolowo did not put too much on the table. He placed value on agriculture and education. Value on today now, when you go to Ibadan now, they visit the Cocoa House. That building that was built by cocoa money. Now we talk about education. During that time, Baba Awolowo was putting about 20 to 23% of our budgetary education into education. Then we value education at that particular time. That's why we have University of Ibadan, Great Ife, University of Lagos, and so on and so forth. In fact, as a matter of time, then in the family, it's a must for you to go to school. You don't have any option. Because you know that by that time you want to tell your parents that you want to go and learn something, that you want to go to school, they will be thinking that there's something wrong with you. Today now, see what we are falling back. What we were running for then is what the graduates now after masters, they will go back now, start doing. So before then, we place values on two things: agriculture and education. So you could see that during that time, in fact, it was what led to you of free education at the western region of the country. That no, let us make education attractive in such a way that people will come and have a better future in Nigeria. Then again, agriculture. You know, I could remember a song we were singing then that you saw that no matter your education, you must add agriculture into it. So that was what our leaders did then. They don't have many things. The way some people will be coming with a lot of thousands of manifestos. We do this, we do that. At the end of the day, they cannot even remember their manifesto when they were campaigning. But let's have little on the table. You understand now? If it is so with the three that you can manage effectively in such a way that citizens will feel the impact at the end of the day, let's have it on the table. So that was how the government ran under Awolowo and Oyetola then. And today now, we are still talking about the value of education at the southwestern region of the country. I'm not saying that other part doesn't play value on education, but we have to look at the region in this country that place more values. I'm not speaking because I'm a Yoruba man, but we're talking about a region that places more value on the education is the Yoruba people. In fact, despite the unemployment rate, despite ASUS Christ, parents are still collecting UTME form for their children to go to school. And they say that they will go to school, there's no job. So if truly people will go to school or people don't see value in education, parents ought to have stopped buying UTME form for their children. You see millions of people trying to write UTME because they believe that education is still the key, whether we like it or not. That's what we are saying, that we must play value on those things that will bring positive change to the life of Nigerians. Not today that people will be talking about so many things. Then again, who are the people you are recruiting for the process? During the last administration, we saw what the former Minister of Education said. They did not even know anything about education. Now the former president forced him to become the Minister of Education. So people we are recruiting at the helms of affairs to manage the process for us still go a long way. But by the time we drag it back and forth, it still boils down on judiciary. If we want to have good democratic system of government in place, the power lies on judiciary because they are the one that will oppose the rule and law. They are the one that will uphold the fundamental principle of law in such a way that the executive and the legislature will have no option than to dance to the tunes of judiciary. But again, it doesn't look like our judiciary is now expensive. Now look at the ongoing presidential election presidential tribunal. Look at the number of SANs gathered by these people. When you don't have money, where you see SAN to hire, and if God will have it, your own case will not be here. Where I know those say maybe we have a case in Abuja, and you have to move lawyer from Ondo to approve from Abuja. You have to pay for their flight, and if God will have it, maybe the case will last for a week. You have to load that and cool SAN in a hotel for that part. So where is the money coming from? So that's why it does look like people are now seeing judiciary as being for the rich who have the money to prosecute their case, to hire big SAN, and you know that judiciary is just like let me say just like higher institution. You know that if you are a parent and maybe your child is not good in a particular subject, you look for the best teacher in that particular subject. And if someone should show up, the first is that what's your qualification? Definitely. Yes, now. If Michael is looking for a mathematics teacher now, and I applied, Fatima applied, what you ask for is that what's our qualification? If I tell you that I'm not a school start holder that I just finished WAEC, looking for admission, and Fatima is telling you that it's a master's degree in applied mathematics, who will you go for, Michael?
It's very obvious.
It's very obvious. So it's just like our judiciary is looking towards that particular angle that, well, if you don't have money to hire good lawyers, then in fact in most cases they will tell you that go and look for good lawyers. And good lawyers, they don't come cheap. So to me, again, borders on strengthening judiciary in such a way that we create a judicial system for both rich and poor. In fact, in most cases, let's give avenue to the poor ones in such a way that when you have cases in court, so that nobody will override them. The rich one, you know, it's very common. You have cases that will tell you that let's meet in court. It's very common when you're having something. Well, I don't need to grab with you. Go and tell your lawyer, let's meet in court, because he knows that he have the paraphernalia, he have the wherewithal to hire good lawyers that will speak on his behalf. And our judges, they go by the word the lawyers are saying in court. No, judges don't go with emotion. Whether you are crying inside a bowl, they don't move with emotion. I was telling someone that's why you see the statue at the front of each court, they are being blindfolded. So whether you are crying, whether you are on your knees, they will not see you. It's because it's just based on what your lawyers able to present before the judge. We've seen cases where someone will commit a murder, just confining your lawyer that truly have committed the murder. The lawyer will go there, will change it to manslaughter. And if you have a very good case, instead of you sentenced to life presuming, they can give you maybe 5 years or 10 years. After that, you are come back to your normal being. So let's create an avenue that will make judiciary approachable for the common man in the country, so that in such a way that they also will have a sense of belonging as far as democratic system of government is concerned.
Well, let's look at, since we've been talking about democracy, a lot of people, well, I'm certain they might have come to an understanding of what democracy means. Yes. We still have independence. There are people that mistake both together. So, and they are quite similar, because when we talk of independence, we still, all these factors we're laying out here today, we're still going to talk about them. Yes. So what differentiates democracy from independence? You see,
democracy is talking about this thing belongs to us. That's democracy. It's not for me alone. You have input, I have input. I can't do it alone. I need your assistance. I need your input. I need your knowledge. I need your contribution. I need your own view. I can't sit somewhere and believe that I have everything to solve. That's what democracy is all about. That's what people are talking about. Is for a government of the people, by the people, and so on and so forth. So it's so that democracy is talking about that people will also have input, whether you like it or not. But we're talking about independence, we're talking about now you believe that you don't need assistance from anybody. That's what independence is talking about. But there's no country that can tell you that they have independence. No country. Because if the country is talking that we have independence, there shouldn't be anything like foreign affairs ministry in this country. And today now we are having foreign affairs. Today now we are still having ambassadors. I'm the general ambassador to UK, to US, to Canada, and so on. So he's talking about that we can't do it alone as a country. We still need help from other countries. So we're talking about independence. Literally, it's talking about, independence. It's not talking about that you can sit and do everything alone. But in some aspect, we are independent in such a way that nobody can dictate to us how we are going to run our country. Nobody can dictate to us how we run our election. The only thing they can do, last election now, we have observers from EU, from US, from even from AU, African Union. They can even just come and observe. They can intervene. They can't interfere. Because we have our independence. You can't interfere in our process. It's what I call you to come and interfere, you will interfere. But they can intervene on the matter. When something is going on, they can release a press statement that, we do this. So in some aspects, we are truly independent, because as we speak today, it's not the America that we elect whoever will become our president. We are the one that we choose who will become our president. So it's not the America that will tell us the number of ministers we're supposed to have. We are the one that will say that, okay, I want to have this number of ministers in my cabinet. So to some extent, we are independent. But to another extent, we still depend on other countries. Don't forget that we are part of Commonwealth. You understand? So we still go there to have some bilateral relation. We need your help to do this and to do that for us. So it depends. But majorly, today now we are running our constitution. We are not running American constitutions. We are not running British constitution. So in terms of governance, we are independent. In terms of governance, we are truly independent, because we are the one that will pick whoever we want. You understand now? We are the one to say whatever you want to say. So in the area of governance, if we are doing a kind of differences now, in the area of governance, we are independent. But in the area of bilateral relation, where you need to lean on other country, where you need to get ideas from other country, where you need to talk on how to move the economy forward, we are not independent. And there's no nation in the world that can boldly say my country is independent, in as much you are having embassies in other countries. And the meaning of that embassy is that you are having a kind of relationship with other countries. So when it comes to governance, in the clear term of governance, we are independent. But in terms of bilateral relation, how you relate with others, it will amount to mental disorder if I tell you that I don't have friends. You understand now? We don't have friends, so you keep to yourself and family members alone. You start, there's something wrong with Sam. For Sam not to have friends at all. But does it mean that I'm not independent? I'm independent. If I want to put on this thing now, nobody tell me that I want to put it on. I put on whatever I want to put on. That is independent we're talking about in terms of governance. But in terms of bilateral, because you need to lean on other countries. You need assistance from other countries. So in terms of that area, no nation in the world can claim that they are independent as far as bilateral relation is concerned.
Now, this interests me to go over this next question, because we are really running out of time. But I want you to do a justice to this. Now, what we have been talking about government, the judiciary, the constitution, and a lot of them. But I feel we have the government and we have the people that govern over.
Yes.
Now, it's a two-way thing. Let's talk about what the citizens are doing wrong. That at the end of the day, they are not enjoying the dividend of democracy.
What do you think
they have been doing wrong
on
their own part?
With the citizens?
Yes.
The only thing I believe we are doing wrong is that it's just two things. In the area of selection, who becomes a leader? The year of vote buying has become an hydra-headed EU now. So now, if you are capable, if Fatima is not capable, but the moment Fatima is offering me huge amount of money, I tend to shy away from competency. And I look towards her money that, no, this is money now, let me get her money. And by the time she's here, if she's doing the other side, I won't even have right to complain. So it's like citizens are not choosing money more than competency. So that's the area we are going wrong in this country, especially when it comes to election. So we must not allow that to dictate who becomes our leader. I know they will come with money. And then again, in the area of scrutinizing who becomes a leader, it does look like we are not being patient enough when it comes to election. We rush to hear, listen. At times we're being deceived by what we hear. We don't take our time to look at who is coming. What is political antecedent? What has he done in the last 4 years? Do I even take time to follow? And then again, we don't follow these people. The moment we put them in power, we shine away from them, we lead them to be doing whatever they are doing. We face our business. I'm not saying we should not face our business as citizens, but we're supposed to be keeping eye on our leaders, what they are doing. Now, if I should ask now, that how many of the citizens now see having the manifesto of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a president that you can be using to track his government, that when he was campaigning, he said we do this, but we just throw it away. But as a good citizen, we're supposed to having this manifesto. Okay, when he was campaigning, he said we do this. Now he's in office. Let's be taking it one by one. Maybe he has done it. So by the time we'll be coming in the next 4 years, we can bring out the scorecard. When you were coming in 2023, you say you will do this, but we closely monitor your government. You fail to do it. Then again, we don't ask questions. We believe that anybody that comes, they let them come, let them bring money, political jamboree, vest, money. Then by this day, you'll be seeing them going with rice and so on and so forth. Then we'll be following what they will give us at that particular moment, rather than what they will offer that will reshaping the future of this country. So, citizens, we are getting it wrong as far as that aspect is concerned. And like I said, there's nothing like close monitoring. If someone is representing you at the House of Assembly in Akure, ask questions. Go to the constituency office. You've been there for over a year. Come and tell us what you've been able to do. But at the end of the day, people only know those who are running during election because names, poster will be all over. By the time they are in power, people don't even remember again who is even representing him or her at the assembly. So they tend to shy away. Then let them be doing whatever they like. You know, I've listened to people that then let them be doing whatever they like there, and it's wrong. No, let us hold them accountable. Follow their government bomber to bomber. See whether they've deviated from what they, because these politicians are very smart. They believe that okay, they want to hear this, okay, and you see that it's very common when they are coming. We do rules. All of them want to do rules. All they want to give you water. All they want to give you employment where there's no even job. What they believe that's what we want to hear. But by the time they are in office, they will just deviate because they will know that you will not follow up to ask them questions again. By the time they will be coming back, they will come back with the same manifesto. We are building roads, we are building schools, we are building hospitals, we are providing jobs, we are taking you from moon to planet, from star to blah blah blah. Then you will be so engrossed with what they are saying. And at the end of the day, they will that by the time you have them in office, you just turn your back, you will not try to follow up. Just like, you know, in school, when a parent will come, they will please help me to do follow up on my child, whether it's coping or not coping. So we citizens, we are getting it wrong in that particular aspect, and we'll be quick to judge them. Are you even following the activities? Are you just like a parent? You know, a good parent, by the time your child or ward is back from school, the best thing is that take the book, see the assignment, what is doing, and this, and so on, and so forth. But some parents will wait until the end of the time. They start checking the books. There's something wrong. If at the beginning of the time, you have 5 notebooks for your children, there's nothing wrong for you checking the note. You know, some students, they will go to school in the morning with 5 notebooks. By the time they are coming, they will just return with 2. Why is the remaining 3? So we need a close monitoring with our leaders. What they are doing, are they delivering on their campaign promises? If no, let's call them again. But as citizens, they believe that the moment they have the power, the moment they have the money at the polling unit, maybe 5,000, then they are going to go in the next 4 years. So by the time they are coming in the next 4 years, they become a bamboo balls with a lot of things, and they will do us again. And the next 4 years, we put them there.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate the analysis and an in-depth one, I must say.
Yes,
it has been very educating and I must say entertaining too, because it's enjoyable. Thank you for always coming on our program, and we really appreciate
to always
you.
have you here with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, viewers, you've learned, I'm very sure. And you've heard it, where we are going wrong as citizens. Of course, the government is always going to be where we point our accusing finger. But for us to enjoy the dividend of democracy, we need to do a lot. Monitor. Keep to them what they have said, so that at the end of the day, you can give them a scorecard to know where they have gone wrong and what they need to do. So at the end of the day, everybody will be happy, and it's going to be a win-win thing. From here, we'll be handing you over to our Lagos studio, which will take over and give you more juicy package. From here, I say goodbye and take care of yourself. I remain Michael Obagiri.
Happy Democracy Day once again. I am Fatima Ibrahim.